that everyone has had a good week so far. We're going to wait a little bit for a couple of more people. I know that Nico is on his way as well, my lovely co-moderator, and Karolina will be joining us in about 30 minutes. Good morning to you, Bogdan. How are you?
Good morning, Pierre. Fine, thank you. And hello, everyone. Hope you are doing well and have some sunshine outside, as I do, at least today.
Fantastic. Where are you based today, Bogdan? Still in Poland?
Yeah, still the same place. Nothing changed, at least for now.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Good morning, Daniel, Julian, Nico. Hope you guys are doing well too.
Good morning, guys.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday indeed. Daniel, you're in Madrid. How's everything over there?
I'm in Madrid. Fortunately, there's some kind of normalcy happening here in Spain again, and we've got people coming back to the office, and it's wonderful to see people back in a shared space talking.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So Spain has come out of the state of emergency, right? That's the deal right now, and things are getting back to normal.
Well, somewhat. Yeah, I think people are taking a little bit too liberally, but we're out of our state of alarm, and now it's up to the states to decide how they want to handle the next few steps.
All right, brilliant. It's this feeling kind of thing where things are kind of heading back to normality in the West at the moment, but still important to remember, I think, that globally we are still having the kind of more or less the highest cases day by day. Still easy to forget that when you live in the West. It feels like we are heading towards the end of the pandemic, but
yeah, unfortunately, I think we're starting to see now the economic divide in the world of the rich countries versus the poor countries, and the supply chain problems and distribution problems and economic and buying power of governments. But maybe that's a bit of a too serious talk for 10 o'clock on a Thursday morning.
I think it's excellent, actually. But yeah, maybe let's get back to that a bit later. Good morning to you as well, Julian. Nice to see you back here as well. How are you?
Yeah, good. All good, thanks. Just doing Lego with my son this morning because there's a corona outbreak at school, which is a reminder that not everything is back to normal as we'd like. But it's been an interesting week, even on the crypto front, right? There's been a massive sell-off in the last 48 hours. So markets have also panicked as a result. So even on the equities front, there's a lot of M&A rumors, there's a lot of M&A activity, but that's also affecting the stock market and purchasing power because most people's portfolios have decreased by at least 20% over the last 48 hours.
Yep. I can relate to that.
Especially if somebody recently would have purchased an NFT of some sort, only to see the value depreciating overnight, Pierre, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I just checked. I don't know if people in the room are aware of the CryptoPunks that are kind of the most prominent NFTs, but they have halved in price over the last week or so. The cheapest CryptoPunk used to be about $65,000, or even like 75,000 was the cheapest one at some point, and now they are down to about 35K. So people who are invested in the digital avatars have not seen a good week, that's for sure.
Oh, it's a good week to buy, right?
Yeah, hopefully. Or I mean, it's such a difficult space to know to predict. I guess that's the thing. Like, what is the right price point of a CryptoPunk? It's so hard to say. I think that's the
zero.
I knew it was gonna come. I knew it.
Sorry, I had to say it.
Yeah, I know that. But yeah, in any case, let's come back to that, guys. I want to wish everyone a good morning here today again, and welcome to the iGaming X Breakfast Chat. Thursday morning, we're here. Weather is beautiful. It's fantastic. And by the way, before we start today, I want to just remind everyone here on stage, particularly, that we are recording the session today, meaning that we will publicize it on YouTube, and there'll be some short clips here and there as well from this very session today to make sure to get your puns on point and bring the best knowledge that we have today to create some great value for everyone today. But before we jump into the call, I also want to remind everyone, if anyone wants to jump on stage, just feel free to raise your hand. You do that by clicking the little hand button in the bottom of the screen. And doing so will allow you to come up on stage. It can be that you want to ask a question, or it could be that you have an input or a topic that you would like to raise. We are running this as an open session today, so we are more than welcome to join on stage here today. So with that said, my dear sharp co-moderator and partner here, Nico, I know that you have compiled the latest and greatest trends and news of the industry here in the last week. What can you share with us?
Hi, good morning from my end as well. Good morning from my end as well. So, although he's a close friend to you, Pierre, to be honest, Lahcene Merzoug, hopefully I just spelled or pronounced the name right, has been appointed as the CEO of the BetPoint group, which is great news to the industry. And as said, Pierre, you're pretty close to him. Maybe you can give us one or two insights about this deal later on. Then we are seeing that LeoVegas has unveiled their US launch strategy. I'm pretty sure that especially Daniel will be very happy that LeoVegas is finally joining the race in the US as well. As another breaking news, we've seen LiveScore signing up Cristiano Ronaldo as their global ambassador, heading over to the US. Good news about Florida, one of the big fours, finally passed green lights within the Senate that sports betting will be available through the Seminole tribe, and they already signed up with the Hard Rock Cafe, and they are also in talks with the well-known DraftKings and FanDuel. So one of the big fours already opened up for sports betting as well. Then another news, New Jersey is now allowing fixed odds on horse racing and dog racing as well. Another big news is the Baltimore Ravens, the first NFL team. They signed an exclusive deal with BetMGM as their first gaming partner in the NFL space. As we have already talked about, like 1 or 2 weeks ago, the NFL signed a big deal with 3 sports betting partners already. So we will see even further teams signing up exclusive gaming partner deals as well. From an M&A side, last week or within the last 7 days, we did not see that much within M&A as of now. But what we can see, or rumors going around, that one of the tech veterans, Sandy Robertson, who will be celebrating his 90th birthday tomorrow, is quite suspicious about the SPAC boom. And he's stating that he sees a lot of junk within the SPAC boom. So there's just this one question. Will we now see the end of the big M&A and all the kind of expected numbers? Then from a tech perspective, FanDuel released a press release that they want, or they will be opening up a tech hub in Atlanta, promising 900 jobs as well. And two more things. Betworks and Konami Gaming, they agreed on a cooperation. So we already see esports and gaming companies and sports betting companies cooperating. And quite interesting as well, Sony filed a patent 18 months ago, how they actually want to integrate sports betting, esports betting into their platform as well. So after Atari, they already announced 2 or 3 months ago that they are expecting to enter the sports betting area as well with a cooperation, but they did not release any further news as well. That Konami and of course Sony are seeing this interesting sports betting resorts as well. So that's a short wrap up from mine, and I'd like to hand over to Pierre again.
Brilliant, Nico. Very eventful week in the industry that is never sleeping. It would seem. As a starting point today, I see that Tim is here today as well. Good morning to you, Tim. I have a question for you as a starting point. Considering the events that has been transpired in the last 36 hours, can you describe Elon Musk in 3 words?
A dickhead. Is that 3 words?
That 3 words, yes.
Look,
Brilliant.
he is just a keyboard warrior troll who's got nothing better to do with his life, unfortunately. He's a master pump and dump. And it's really shameful that someone who's such a thought leader in society can be so childish and control. And it shows you how flimsy the financial markets really are if people will be followed by influencers.
Yeah.
But if we look at the gaming world these days, everyone follows the influencers. It's the changing sands of advertising. But just on that, obviously, it's been a crazy week in the crypto world, and the price has gone down a lot. And I had someone write to me last night saying, how do you handle it personally and professionally, obviously holding a couple of Bitcoins? And I'm like, close the app, open it next week. The price will go back to where it is normally. So it's there's going to be sell-off, there's going to be fear, there's going to be FUD. The smart move is either just close the app and not look at the price, and if you don't sell, you don't lose, or do what some other companies have done and buy the dip. Think for long term.
Like MicroStrategy.
Exactly. So, but yeah, Elon Musk, don't know what world he's on, and good luck to him in life.
On that note, as we've seen, first of all, crypto in a free fall. Bitcoin tanks 30%, Ethereum losses roughly 40%, and Dogecoin down to 45%. And now we're kind of seeing a little bit of a shady connotation, as we have all seen the pipelines being hacked in the US, and the Colonial pipelines, they actually paid 75 Bitcoins, or roughly around $5 million, to those hackers to actually release the pipelines again. So on the one note, we're seeing like the drop, and on the other side, we're seeing this kind of shady business linked to Bitcoin as well, which might be dangerous as well. Tim, what's your thought about this one?
Yeah, no one buys drugs with cash these days. Quite simply, okay, firstly on the price, if we go back 6 months, Bitcoin and crypto is up 500%. Don't forget in December it was at $20,000. So on those basis, it's still up. But crypto is not an investment asset. And this is the big mindset people need to change. People are trying to sort of join a bandwagon and become a day trader. It's not a mature enough market to become a day trader and try and use it as an investment class. It's a store of wealth for the long term, where you're not sort of shocked by short-term liquidity. And it's also about crypto is it's a railroad. It's a railroad road. So this is to move things digitally and seamlessly across the world. It's just the first iteration. It has a monetary value because people believe it has a monetary value given the limited supply. So in regard to hackers charging Bitcoin, the amount of requests we get from government agencies asking for information based on the chart analysis review, if I was a hacker and trying to get a reward from someone for doing it, the last currency or thing I'd be using would be crypto to receive that money. The fiat on and off ramps are so strict now, given the new AML, the 6th directive or 5th directive, whichever one it is. It is becoming increasingly harder, and it's a public ledger. And governments are catching up very quickly with the likes of Crystal and Chain Analysis to track what's going on. We are a good actor within the industry, so if we have a properly issued warrant or request for information from the I don't know, the German police or the Israeli police or whoever else it is, we will comply if it's reasonable and done correctly to try and stamp out any fraud which might be coming through our systems. But it's a transparent blockchain. You'd be silly to try and take a reward for hacking a pipeline with crypto, in my humble opinion.
I think also given what happened with Wall Street traders, right, and the whole mob-based pursuit of individuals, given the great tools available now, like chain analysis, right, it's only going to be a matter of time before there's this Reddit-led mob that's actually going to be tracking all the movements of these hackers, right, just to ensure they end up getting pinpointed. So we might hopefully see the very first crowdsourced pinpointing of hackers like this, purely based on the digital footprints. It's happened once before on just fingerprinting and IDing criminals based on crowdsourcing. I strongly believe that there's going to be a movement to actually track this down. And there is the technology and indeed the social means to support it.
Brilliant. Thank you guys for that. Before we jump on, I just wanted to also mention we have Alex and Oliver here on the stage today, and we're going to jump over to esports today in a little bit. But I want to also see if our dear friend Jeffrey Haas, who is in the chat here today, if he would be interested to discuss what his thoughts are of Florida potentially opening it up. That would be fantastic, but I understand as well that you might be busy, Jeffrey, but if you would like to come on stage, feel free to do so. And in the meantime, I want to also follow up on the discussion here with Daniel, who is a lot more skeptical on this front of when it comes to cryptocurrencies in general, perhaps, or more NFT side of things, perhaps. What do you think about the developments here now in the crypto world? Obviously, Bitcoin and Ethereum and others taking a huge plunge.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I've seen this over the last however many years I've been in crypto, so I'm not surprised at all. It's another. We went through incredible growth over the last couple of months, as Tim mentioned. It's like with any market at all. Once you reach amazing heights and you hit a top support line, doubt sets in, and then it's really easy to play with the market. All it takes is one bad actor to say something, and then people, the FUD sets in and people start selling off. I think it's just a sign that the market was potentially overvalued at that point in time. It had grown too quickly, and like with any market, there was need for a bit of sell-off. I don't think the drop was particularly devastating for many people, except if you bought at the top. I think for most people who've been in the market for a while, it's a natural cycle. Like Tim said, again, it will bounce back. It's been interesting to watch. You got Elon Musk. I saw a lot of stuff from Dave Portnoy as well. He's been pumping SafeMoon, which is a funny coin. I see these patterns now, which is the same patterns that I was seeing in 2018 and the same probably in 15, 16 of absolute nonsense happening in the marketplace. Like I got into SafeMoon very early days, so I'm very happy to see this nonsense going on around it. But it's absolutely not. They're nonsense coins. They're called shit coins for a reason, basically. And then all the copies of these nonsense coins. I mean, Doge is the perfect example. It was intended to be a nonsense coin. It never meant to serve any value. But everyone's backing it. It's a sign of how immature the market gets. I think there's some analogy or metaphor, which is the shoe shiners or something. When they start talking about it, that's when you should get out. And that's definitely what's happening lately. All of my friends who haven't been in the market yet, who've somehow managed to avoid the crypto space, are now sending me messages saying, "Oh, now seems like a good time to buy." And it's a perfect example of just where the market's headed. It just keeps steamrolling on, and more people get dragged into its web, and it's natural. There's so much uneducated, I want to say, without being disrespectful, money that's going into the market. It's natural that it's going to be very volatile. People are going to get scared really easily. Things will just keep steamrolling on. We're still in the first maybe 1% of where this trend is going to go. So I'm not surprised. I'm not scared. It's an opportunity to buy.
Buy the dip. Buy the dip.
Model.
Are we talking tacos here or okay? All right, brilliant. Guys, thanks for that, Daniel. Jeffrey, welcome on stage as well. I'm super curious to slide into the next topic here, which is the fact that Florida is opening its door, the first of the big four states, to potential online sports betting legislation. Daniel, Graetzer, what do you make of the potential Florida opening up its doors to sports betting?
Yeah, like I can be a little bit less conservative, I suppose, than Jeffrey, so I can maybe share some opinions. It's the benefit of not being a public listed company, I suppose.
Yeah,
it's disappointing to see the mess that the big four are going through. Well, at least at early stages, like New York is an example. When there's so many great examples of states, pushing through open and fair legislation that creates a nice open market and plenty of competition, and the nice tax that comes back to the communities and blah blah blah. And then you see, as I said, like New York, the bill was a bit of a mess, and we've still got lawyers trying to pick the bill apart and understand really what some of the implications are. And we've got all kinds of consortiums being put together to try and go after skins there. And then you got Florida, and it's basically a lockup for Hard Rock. It's disappointing for everyone else in the market. I really respect guys like DraftKings and FanDuel. I think they're incredible businesses, and I hope that the market does open up a little bit, at least for some of the big guys, because I think it helps all of us when there's more competition in the market, even if we're not in that particular state. It's great for the investment opportunities. It's great for the consumer to have more choice. It helps bring the offshore market onshore by having more options there. So, look, we'll see how things unfold. I did read through the compact when it was published. It looked like a lot of quid pro quo between the government and the tribe. It looks like there's a lot of politics behind it. There's a lot of potential. It seemed like there was a lot of pending negotiation that all got wrapped up into one big deal. So it's very complicated. I'm definitely not an expert on the compact and what's going to happen now, but I really do hope that we see more competitors in the market than just the one. And I think it will set potentially a bad example for the other states to have too many monopolies in the market, and it's not good for the operators themselves. We've seen tax rates go up to ridiculous levels when there's monopolies because they've got all the leverage in the world. And again, it's not great for the industry when you've got 50+% tax in some markets. We'll see what happens. I would love to be in that market. I don't see it happening. I'll keep fishing.
Julian, feel free. I see you're eager to speak.
I'm able to speak to an extent, right? I'm through an NDA with the process with the US buyer that has a lot of Florida, New York, and California listed on its term sheet. I echo Daniel's sentiment, right? We're going through a process right now where the smaller states are leaner, more optimized, have made mistakes, but they clearly seem to be coming out in a more streamlined fashion, right? There's almost like a market watch on the big four to see how they're going to perform. And I think it's going to be too little too late, right? In the time when M&A is pushing up at a really aggressive pace, so the amount of actual eligible players become arguably consolidated at a time when we actually need more diversification. And when the states do open, we get to a point where, sadly or fortuitously, depending on your side of the table, these states are more aligned with your business plan that has been planned for the last 3 years. So it's a bittersweet, frustrating experience in equal measure to see how the states are evolving. I'd like to keep a close look on Florida just to see what's going to happen. As I've done with this state for the last 10 years, I am not keeping my hopes up or holding my breath for too long because I suspect I know what's going to happen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, as a bit of an outsider here, but I just read kind of the reports before the call today, and what it seems like is that it's basically that they aren't closing the doors to a monopoly per se, but what they are saying is that if you want to work together with this tribe, you have to do so by working together with the Hard Rock platform. Is that correct? So, for example, if DraftKings wants to offer sports betting in Florida, they would have to do so using the Hard Rock proprietary platform, basically, which is a problem, I would assume.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's limited to Hard Rock, but yeah, that is the sentiment that seems to be coming out of the various PRs or the various documentation we're seeing with this. So it's almost like a gradual assisted monopoly, if the phrase makes sense. I'm hoping there's going to be more clarity over the coming weeks and months, but yeah, that seems to be the general observation right now.
Brilliant. Is there anyone else who would like to share anything, any thoughts or any questions on Florida specifically, or shall we jump on to the next topic? All right, then we will do that. And so I would like to jump over to esports a little bit. I've been speaking here with Alex, who's in the chat over LinkedIn yesterday, and he was happy to join together with his colleague Oliver here from PandaScore. And I would just like to start by Alex, if you'd like to kind of introduce PandaScore a little bit more, what you guys are up to.
Yeah, sure. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm a bit new to Clubhouse. Let me know if I'm cutting out at all. But yeah, no, thank you very much for having me here. Look forward to joining every week and listening in on the conversations. Yeah, just thought I would reach out and just say, if there's any esports topics that come up, I'm more than happy to chime in and give our 2 cents about it. Yeah, myself and Oliver from PandaScore. We're an esports data company at heart. So our bread and butter was gathering data through AI technology and pushing that out via an API, and then visualizing it through stats and widgets as well. But in 2018, we ventured into the esports betting market and basically built a team to build a product for pre-match and live odds through a trading dashboard. And we received some investment last year to be able to really expand our team, not only on the product side, but also on the sales side. And the aim is to become the best esports betting supplier in the world. So that's our motto at the moment. But yeah, very happy to be here. And yeah, if you've got any esports topics you'd like to discuss, then yeah, just let me know.
Humble target, Alex. I like it. So Karolina, I can see that you are here now. Good morning to you as well, and feel free to chime in here.
Hi, good morning. Apologies for being a bit inactive, but I was passively listening on with one headphone while being in a daily stand-up with another ear. But I love to see Alex come on, and I really want to use this opportunity because for me, this whole news about Sony, coming public with the patent they filed, I sort of struggle to understand how they would hold it in court because it's so vague. I actually looked into the patent, and it almost feels to me like a scare away PR move, but to others, but it definitely will work for some. What do you think that's going to mean to sort of development of sort of betting services over the stream in general? Is that going to start a completely new race for utilizing different channel to offer the betting? I mean, there is a lot of work being done already on Twitch extensions, and people are doing fixed odds betting for crypto, for loyalty points, whatever. But do you think we'll see at some point real money betting directly on the stream on Twitch?
So before
Yes.
before we answer your question, can we just clarify a little bit what this patent is as well, just to give some context, and then we answer the question, if that's okay.
Sure. And well, I believe the patent is about Sony being able to allow both real and sort of social betting directly on the stream from esport competitions.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting one, and yeah, you said it perfectly there, that it is still very, very vague about what it's going to be. The 2 things that jumped out to me is that so yes, Sony may be offering some sort of betting platform, whether that over their streams or actually inside the games themselves. They also mentioned that it may take Bitcoin in the future, and they may be also delving into the skin gambling arena, which is quite interesting to hear, because there has been a bit of apprehension about skin gambling, and a lot of people have been burnt in the past. So I was quite surprised to hear that. But it is very vague at this stage. And obviously Twitch, although it has been just with play money like channel points, they have implemented like wagering into their systems. I mean, it is very simple. You can either bet on whether a guy's going to win or whether he's going to lose. But it is quite interesting to see Twitch take a little bit of a betting stance as well. But I think we're really going to have to see it develop first. I think they've had the patent since 2019, and it's only really come into light now, really. So I think we'll have to see the developments there. But yeah, it is very vague, and it will be very interesting to see what they do with it, basically, and whether it's going to be in-game or whether it's going to be streams or whether they're going to have a separate platform themselves for people to bet on.
I think it's super interesting from KYC perspective as well, because there is a lot of talk on sort of streaming on Twitch and the audiences that there is difficulty in verifying the age properly, and it could be reaching the wrong audiences. So there is some suspicion that Twitch might even ban gambling streamers, and they were sort of becoming very hostile towards our industry. But I think these kind of moves where Sony openly goes out and say, yeah, we're not going to miss out on this chunk of revenue because we're seeing massive opportunity in there. Everybody else will start going, well, why should we miss out? Maybe we should stop being this hostile. It's a business like any other. But at the same time, if they're going to go to sort of introduce features on top of stream, they really need to get it together on KYC perspective. And for providers to come up with innovative KYC solutions specifically for those channels, I think that's a gap at the moment. I don't think there's much in that space.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, the main problem with skin gambling was not the skins. I mean, skins are just a digital currency, a little bit like crypto. It was just the KYC behind them were just letting, 12, 13-year-old kids bet on them. And as long as, Sony, they're a massive company, I'm sure they're going to do this properly. But as long as they put the correct measures in place, then I see no issue with people being able to gamble in-game items for monetary value. I mean, the skin gambling market is huge, and as I said, as long as the right precautions are set in place and you can verify the age of the players, then there should be no issue with it. And yes, it is a massive market, which in that retrospect, I'm not surprised to see Sony take its foot into.
Thank you for that. I really wanted to hear your perspective. Thanks, Pierre, for letting me chime in here.
Question from me, sorry, just to jump in here. When you say Sony's coming into this marketplace, what jurisdictions? Is this a worldwide play? Is this an American play, Asian play? Is there any sort of knowledge around that kind of jurisdictional basis they'll take or focus?
It's a US patent for now.
US patent, but will that then extend worldwide in their play to be a market leader in the esports betting area?
I don't think that they have openly issued any statement. I think the news about the patent is more from sort of patent alerts where, it became public that they filed and got this patent approved. So it was sort of communicated on their behalf. But in terms of strategy, there has not been any communication so far.
So in the end, and just to clarify, the US patent laws pretty much state that 18 months after an application, this is always made public. And as far as I'm concerned, they want to implement this kind of sports betting offering within their PlayStation products, but also the PCs and smartphones as well. So they filed the patent to actually use this ones within their PlayStation network. So they handed it in the US, but of course they would pretty much roll it out worldwide, from my understanding.
I think, hi guys, this is Oliver here. One interesting thing that I remember back in, I think it was 2015, EA actually had a very early PvP, pari-mutuel, essentially platform that they sat behind the FIFA and the NBA 2K products. They never used it. They explored the possibility of it, but obviously for some of the concerns that we've obviously raised here, it was abandoned and scaled back. So this isn't the first time a large operator within the video game space has done this kind of thing. So it is, as Alex said, very much a let's watch this space. It's very interesting, but it's still very early.
Interesting to hear. Thanks for laying that out. I mean, Karolina, quickly.
One more question, because I'm trying to think, if they were going to offer fixed odds betting, I mean, on their own games, yes, but if anybody else was gonna go as a third party, it becomes almost impossible, because you need to have the ability to scrape those events in real time. And I remember I've seen a startup pitch some years ago where someone wanted to introduce fixed money betting between friends on the outcomes from video games, and they did some technical research, and it was impossible to get access to the data needed to set up this bet. So I guess for Sony it makes sense, because they have this access of obvious reasons, but anyone else it would be difficult to match that position.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that it'll be quite interesting to see if Sony partner with anybody, because generally how it works is the game developer makes the game, and then a tournament organizer steps in and creates the tournament for that said game, and then it's the tournament organizer that owns the data rights and the streaming rights. It'd be quite interesting to see if Sony just directly partner with anyone else and create their own tournaments and skip the tournament organizers altogether. So then they own, the sole rights to that data and streaming, and therefore can put betting on these matches that they own and that they're putting the tournament on for. Otherwise, they'd have to redirect to a third party like Twitch, where people would be viewing it anyway. So yeah, that'd be quite interesting to see as well.
My experience seeing Sony and having worked with them directly on the buy side, they'd probably be more aggressive than that and probably go down an acquisitive front to actually buy a full stack supplier that can actually provide them with this. I'm actually going through the pattern now. It's actually quite interesting. It's incredible what breadth of scope they can go through this. It'd be interesting to see how quickly they start to enact this, but the whole landscape just got very interesting all of a sudden.
Sorry, Julian, you were cutting a little bit in and out there. I'm not sure if it sounded a little bit like you were covering the mic or something like that. Do you want to repeat the last part, please? If you can still hear us, Julian. No? Okay. So it seems that this is a bit of a paradigm shift with Sony entering the scene. Alex and Oliver, yeah, Julian, I can see you're back. Would you like to chime in again?
Sorry, the beauty of Bluetooth. Yeah, my 2 cents are, having worked with Sony on the buy side, I genuinely think that they're actually going to go down the acquisitive fronts. They'll probably buy a player that will actually buy this from the top down to actually do this as a managed service. And going through the pattern now, I'm actually reading it right now. It's incredible how much breadth and scope they actually are giving themselves for. And I'd like to see how quickly they can roll this out over the coming weeks, months, or years. Right? It's going to be all of a sudden the landscape became very, very interesting. All of a sudden.
I think there's more to this particular patent than just this specific. I think that generally, again, I'm speculating, looking at their actions, but they have also announced sometime in April, a couple of different initiatives aimed at expanding the esport audiences, and some critics said it was a bit late in the game, considering the pandemic, that they allow the audiences to be more engaged in watching the streams and so on. But in general, I feel that this is one bigger initiative with some smaller parts playing, aimed at claiming that whole space and figuring out something I call spectator monetization. And I think this is something a lot of people are looking at right now, including myself with SharePlay. But it's extremely interesting. And I was reading that patent, and immediately I read up about all their recent initiatives. And I think they are a player we should definitely pay attention to, because it isn't just some one isolated event.
I'm interested to know where is the general esports market up to? Obviously, it's been the talk of the town 3 or 4 years ago at ICE, but where is the general landscape up to? I mean, who are the clear market leaders, and who's pushing the boundaries of what's the next innovation in esports betting? And has it kicked off like it was meant to kick off, or will it still kick off in the future? Just interested where we're up to.
Yeah, I think, in around 2015, 16, esports was the buzzword going around, wasn't it? I mean, everybody was talking about it. It was supposed to be, this new next big thing. I mean, there were massive figures thrown out there. It was going to reach a certain amount by 2020. And to be, in all honesty, those figures were a bit overinflated, and we didn't quite get there. But there's no beating around the bush that it is going to be something big for the future. I mean, you can see just with the amount of growth that we've seen from some bookmakers already, it's going to be a big thing. And for some bookmakers who have done it correctly, people like Betway, they're reaping the rewards at the moment. As long as you've got a good product behind you, and it's catered towards an esports punter, then you can definitely reap the rewards of esports already. But there's no denying that it is still something for the future, and it's still very early. I think one of the main shifts at the moment is that back in around 2015-16, it was more about the education of esports and telling bookmakers how it's done. And now the bookmakers have had it for about 5 or 6 years, they're looking for a better product now, something that's going to entice the esports punter in. If you're fortunate enough to be one of the big boys, you've already got a user base for traditional sports, and naturally some of those will filter over to esports. But some of the smaller guys will need to put a bit more effort into getting these esports customers over. And if you've got a bad product behind you, then it's not going to be very, very easy to do. So I think the shift is now that people are starting to look for, more markets, more fixtures, better margins, rather than 5 or 6 years ago they were just after a product to add onto their site to see how it would perform. And obviously esports had a massive boom during the 3 months where traditional sports were unavailable. It was a bit, it wasn't traditional esports as I know it, because FIFA took over quite a lot. Obviously all the traditional sports bettors just wanted something to bet on, and FIFA was something that they mainly recognised. But CSGO, Dota and League of Legends still dominate the market. I think about them that are doing well at the moment, I'd say.
And in regard to those marketing, the marketing of esports, what's the sponsorship landscape like? Is it, we're going to have a front of shirt ban from Dota teams in the future, or are the traditional bookmakers out there sponsoring big teams, and and what's the comparison between the Asian market and say European or North American market in that regard?
Yeah, so you're right that some games were very apprehensive about esports betting in general. What we have seen very recently is that Overwatch and Call of Duty leagues have opened up sponsorships for betting on team shirts. So they're definitely a little bit more open to it now. Counter-Strike has always been open to betting. Betway and GGBet both sponsor a team there. But I think it's only a matter of time before Riot Games open up their sponsorships for their shirts. I think it's going to be a while yet, but you can see that they're more involved in the betting space.
Yeah, I know. We've just signed a deal with Evil Geniuses in terms of for Bit Casino as a casino brand, simply looking at the demographic of people who enjoy that. And it's not exactly from a massively sports betting perspective. It's more about their presence on social media and how they position themselves in the market, and how we can try and talk to that consumer base. So we're certainly looking into the sponsorship area. But it's obviously very different to, say, sponsoring a Southampton, but it's an exciting shift of mindset of how you work with an influential team again, to become part of the fabric of the brand and tap in and try and be a part of that narrative. So it's certainly exciting in that regard.
What I also find exciting is the fact that a massive platform player connected to arguably one of the largest connected networks, Sony, is throwing its hat into the betting space, right? So what's going to happen next? Will Microsoft do as well? Will Nintendo try to do this? I think this actually goes back to the US market gradually opening up, particularly with the big four, right? I think this could become a very interesting arena, not just on the esports space, right? What would then stop Sony actually then from tapping into other markets that are periphery, like FIFA, for instance, and the F1? This becomes very exciting very quickly.
I think this for Sony, you can also see one of their other patents is pushing VR forward, and Alex would love that subject, but they are utilizing VR, and they are announcing the plans for it, that they will allow sort of esports spectators to choose different view and simulate themselves as they were being in the stadium. So I think if you're going to put that much effort in creating that realistic experience of being at the stadium while you're at home, then it's a natural move to also try to monetize that audience that you're already investing so much in their sort of journey.
Daniel, I saw that you were eager to speak as well. Would you like to chime in here as well?
Yeah, I'm always curious about this topic, particularly when it comes to the confluence of esports and sports betting. I know I'm going to come across as the eternal pessimist every time I get involved in some of these conversations. However, I have worked on, tried to run an esports sports book in the past. The margins were really terrible. There was always suspicion of manipulation in games. In particular, the crossover or the union between your typical sports betting demographic and people who watch esports, I've always struggled with. I continue to struggle with it. I kind of want to get the opinion of maybe Alex and Tim or anyone who's actively trying to overlap sports bettors in the esports world. I understand, last year was a different case. When we were betting on marble racing and table tennis, and esports was great because there were entire studios of the people in Eastern Europe playing FIFA with people betting on them around the world, or Madden, thinking it was a real game because there was nothing else going on. But in the real world, in terms of actually trying to build a huge or a successful business in our industry, what do you guys really see the opportunity being in the future for I suppose for sports betting operators in the esports realm? Is it always just going to be merch and spectator sport, or is there real opportunity from your guys' perspective as to bring in as a valuable and revenue driving vertical?
Look, Daniel, from our perspective, we have esports within Sportsbet, and it's been requested by our players, and it's probably our fifth or sixth biggest sport, just through a natural, organic offering. Now, I don't think this is the right way to do esports. If you're focused on becoming the biggest esports provider in the world, it's not a traditional bookmaker simply offering that within the side menu as another thing to bet on. But we will have people wanting to bet on it, so of course we'll offer it. I think a company like GGBet, who have come out from day one and said, we are not going to be doing tennis and basketball and football. We are going to be doing esports. We're going to actually understand what that Twitch a user is going to want, how they're going to want to interact with the site, and how they're going to want to talk within a community, and they're fully focused on that experience. And I don't think the two cross over very naturally. There will be natural crossover, but it's not going to be. A traditional bookmaker won't become the biggest sports book in the world. That's the bottom line. I'm thinking.
So I just want
agree. So
Alexandre, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with Tim. Yeah, I remember talking with SB Tech back in time when they launched their esports product, and basically they were saying that there is a problem of demographic, and there's a problem that sportsbook are trying to get into esports, and they're just not talking to the same people. And I don't know if you remember back in time, I think it was 2010, we saw a company called World Gaming coming to iGaming shows. There were two kids from the US, and they built this amazing product where basically they were taking, there was no API, they were taking the results, they were pinging the servers of Xbox. So you would go on their website, you would place bets on people playing, and they will take the results from Xbox servers, hacking it in a way, and you were paying through PayPal on their website. And they've been acquired by Virgin Gaming, I think in 2012, 1 or 2 years after that. And to be honest, I don't know what this project become. That's a few million players, but I think it died in its infancy. Now, the fact that we see PlayStation going there, it's a very interesting sign. I think it was too early, like VR back in time. I think it may come now. I would like to see Steam actually jumping in there, because if there's one platform that has the muscle power to go there, apart obviously from Xbox and PlayStation, it's Steam. That's where you have the real gamers. I mean, real gamers, they don't play on console. They play on computers, and you have a massive demographic there. However, we will face the same problem that we face in VR. You will not see today a online gambling application in VR just because of the demographic. There's 80% kids there.
You won't see, I don't think, that coming tomorrow in Steam and PlayStation because of the demographic. There will be regulatory issues. But I don't see sportsbook. I don't see gamers going on a sportsbook, on a casino to play esports. That's what the SBK guy was saying, is that we need to market it differently. It can't be a sports book. It needs to be an esports website. It should not be called esports. Actually, they said it should be called something completely different. But we still face a demographic problem. We're gonna. Sorry about the dog. We're gonna talk to kids, and are we going to have adults going on Steam soon and representing a major part of the demographic? I don't see that happening today. And then there's another thing that Daniel mentioned is the collusion. How are you going to manage the collusion when you have individuals playing between themselves and high stakes of gamblers gambling on them?
Thank you, Alexander. I saw Julian, you wanted to chime in here as well. Do you have anything to share?
Yeah, just a quick note here. Just fundamentally agree with Alexandre's comments that we need to see, we're actually witnessing a new type of product being born, right? That targets the latest generation, the Steam users, but also something that is not called a traditional product, right, for gambling. But I also know who's going to be marketing this, right? And it's going to be streamers. Streamers are gonna create the new way for this because they play to that target anyway. They're already very prevalent on the networks that target these eyeballs, and you can easily see them leading the masses, almost educating the masses to this new product. What it's going to be called or how it's going to look like is, I guess, anyone's guess at this stage. But we do know at least where the crowds are going to come from.
Yeah, and just my 2 cents on that. Obviously, you see Stake having a massive push right now through Twitch, through some influencers playing their casino games. And, 99% of the people on Twitch are also watching video games or watching esports. So there's also going to be a crossover between casino and esports bettors, especially for the younger generation.
Just on the point of collusion and of match fixing and kind of from a general kind of integrity perspective. I mean, PandaScore just joined ESIC, which is a self-regulating body. So I think that kind of polices the market as it grows. It's a significant step for us, and it's one which I think the community and the kind of ecosystem of esports is developing and will continue to grow for. I mean, integrity for us is incredibly important, and that partnership is kind of something that we're very proud of, and we'll start kind of pushing out to the wider industry about.
Brilliant. Just as a question from my end as well, is it a generational thing as well, where obviously as esports matures and a larger market comes in and the demographic generally gets older, does that also kind of solve a lot of this problem if we are looking at from a helicopter view, like the general direction of esports as a segment is heading toward a more mature place, and therefore a lot of these problems will eventually be solved as well. Is that the way you guys view it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's not forget that although these games have been around for a while, they're still very young. I mean, they've only really come into the public light. I guess they're kind of public, but they're still quite niche in around 2012. And although a lot of the viewers and a lot of the people playing the games are quite young, the older the games get, the more traction they're going to get and the more viewers they're going to get. And I think it was mentioned last week about user acquisition. I mean, that's a key thing for esports. It's about bringing in a new type of user base into your site. And yes, maybe in the earlier days there weren't enough tournament structures around. It was quite new, quite immature. But now there's more eyeballs on it than ever. The amount of customers you're going to be able to bring into your site because of esports is one of the main driving factors to be able to offer it and to offer it well.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot for that, Alex and Oliver. I think we're gonna start rounding off a little bit today. It's been a great hour, but I guess before we do that, I just wanted to kind of close the thoughts here. Is there any other thoughts on the topic of esports? Any other questions that we want to bring up today? We can take one more. That's okay. If anyone has anything more on their mind, I leave it open.
Yeah, question from me, and maybe a little bit inside knowledge here, but the growth of virtual gaming. We obviously know there's the virtual horse racing and soccer, which is like based on an RNG at 5% RTP. When will we start seeing the Hollywood type activity or movie production into a virtual gaming, and will that have a massive effect in the American real money gaming market moving forward?
So a question for Alex or Oliver, Tim?
Yeah. So not just esports being your Counter-Strike and your Dota and whatnot, but I mean, you've got FIFA at the moment, but will there be an increase in sort of those electronic sports games, and even if they're being run by teams like or an RNG type thing, will that take off and will that grow as this market matures going forward?
Okay, yeah, sorry, I understand what you're saying now. So in terms of that, I mean, there are multiple companies out there that have offered a product with, two guys in a room playing FIFA against each other for like 24 hours, and people can bet on it, a bit like a virtual product. Now, although that was great during the pandemic times where there was no traditional sports, I don't see that taking off anytime soon, and I don't really see that as a moneymaker at all. It's great to boost fixture numbers if you want to do a marketing push, but other than that, it's not going to get you any money really. I mean, yes, you may have some crossover between your traditional virtual customers into this type of virtual esports, but I don't see it as an important product at all, and one that's not really going to entice anybody to bet on really. And in terms of the actual like traditional sports games like FIFA and NBA, I know there's more structure around it now, and people are starting to be paid to play the games, and they're playing for professional teams. But we're not really seeing the betting volume on those type of games. It's still dominated by the main three, and I think the main problem is that it's too close to the traditional sports. Why would somebody want to bet on FIFA when they can bet on a football match, which looks quite similar? While the CSGO, you can't go outside and shoot somebody in the head, really, can you? So it's quite enticing to bet on. So I think the main three are still going to be the driving factors for esports for a long time to come. And I don't really see this sort of virtual esports, if you want to call it that, take off at all, in my opinion.
Brilliant. Bogdan, I can see that you wanted to say something as well. Anything on your mind?
Yes, actually, I have one remark in regards to the esports itself. Is one very important aspect which needs to be taken also under the consideration here is the unfortunate possibility of fixed matches and fixed tournaments, and this is something what each and every sportsbook company is having in the back of the head and thinking of. I'm very happy to see that there is actually there are established some organizations where you can actually you can join as a sportsbook and try to fight with it. But just for that reason, I see that it's going to be very, very hard to eliminate this element of risk, which might be kind of a dodgy, and customers, especially among the customers who would like to place a bet on an esport event, you don't have this guarantee when you watch on a Twitch the map. You don't have this guarantee like watching the game of football, for instance, on TV, that the match is somehow not steered by the other third parties or other person who take a personal advantage of. Let's not be afraid to say it, a bribe or a compensation. So that is something what also holds the esport from becoming more popular. And I fully agree with this, what Alex said, that actually when you have a normal sports, why bother with the esport? You need to be a die-hard player and a lover of esports if you're going to push this more over the traditional way of betting. So that's just a remark from my side.
You were referring to FIFA there, like Seth Blatter, or which organisation which is dodgy?
Well, I don't remember the name right now. Probably no. I'm not going to tell you what kind of organization it is, but I saw the sportsbook companies who were joined some this type of organizations, and that only shows that the problem exists. And personally, from the inside information, I spoke with a couple of my colleagues, and they said that they observed some unexpected results of the games where some unexpected bets were placed. So this is this is also the risk which puts some shade on the esport as a discipline, sort of saying.
We acknowledge that these things happen as well from a PandaScore perspective. Again, I can't specify enough how important to us it is to be part of the ESIC group, which again is enables the community to self-regulate. We're unique as well in that we have our own specific traders who look out for these things. So there is a journey to go on, and like with many sports, like with tennis at the ITF level, like with cricket, previously, there are areas where we have to all be very vigilant. But it is important, we bring integrity to the forefront of PandaScore, and I think that's a conversation that we want to lead, and we're going to be part of going forward. So, and we have very, very robust processes in place. I can't speak for for some of our competitors, but it's something that we is vital as part of our journey as we grow, and we promote that within our customer to our customers, and we want our customers to have that peace of mind so their players can have that as well.
Daniel, go ahead.
Looking forward to it.
I just want to railroad the conversation. I have to run because I'm a little bit late for my next meeting. But what a special announcement! I believe it's Tim's birthday. Tim, is that right? Is it your birthday today?
Yes, it is.
Happy birthday,
Oh my
mate.
God!
Happy birthday,
Tim.
Happy birthday, Tim.
Sorry,
thank you very much, guys.
break
Much
the news. I just want to say happy birthday before I jump off. So happy birthday,
Thanks,
mate. Have a wonderful
Much
day.
appreciated. Good.
Amazing. I think it would be a little bit too cheesy to try to coordinate a happy birthday song here in the clubhouse, but I think
that's not happening here.
Not too cheesy.
Recorded and everything. Recorded and everything.
Pressing that leave quietly button right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we are innovators, right? But yeah, we'll save that for next year, I think. Happy birthday, Tim! Fantastic. Happy to hear. 25 years young, and good to hear that everything is well on your front. And Daniel, thanks for bringing that up. So, I mean, I think that's a great way to end today, actually. It's been a fantastic session. And thanks as well, Alex and Oliver, for coming in today and giving us your deep insight into the esports scene. Obviously, a lot of things are happening on that front, so it will be interesting to follow. And yeah, thank you to everyone else as well who chimed in today. I just wanted to reiterate here that we have been recording this session today, and it will be publicized through the iGaming socials. And also want to make sure that you are aware that this session is happening every Thursday morning. So next week, feel free to join us again. If you want to be notified about these sessions, you can just join the iGaming Club here on Clubhouse. You do that by just clicking the little green house, and then you just can join the iGaming Club. That way you can also start your own rooms through the iGaming Club and start your own discussions. So that's pretty exciting. And with that, I wish you all a great day. Have a good Thursday ahead. It's been fantastic. Thank you all, and see you next week. And again, happy birthday, Tim.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys. Bye, guys.